Welcome back, everyone, to Pontus Fathom Hobbies. This is Season 6, Episode 2 of Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. We are on day 43 of our overall campaign. Bayor and Maggot are in the Fernsea, and we've had our first encounter there. We were able to cross the Fernsea. However, we haven't had any great progress. I do have the Hunted on the board that I'm going to have to make up for. I didn't use it last round, so we'll go and check out the Hunted status. Let's find that again here. Okay, here's our Hunted rules. It says from the now at the start of each day. So let's go. First of all, we're going to grab our random event for the day, and it's also good weather again. So that's going to make it easier for us to travel. I discard this here. For the Hunted rules, it says when any character ends up at the same location, if there are several paths or equal length, characters with the same range, 4 dwellers length path. So where is the 4 dweller? At the start of the day, move your according to the rules found in the Book of Secrets. Verse 13 of the Book of Secrets. I guess we're going to put this here. This was here. Right, we'll move it down here. So we're going to place the, set the time, if the 4 dwellers disappeared, we're going to set the time dial to 2, right, which was last round, and now we're going to reduce it down to 1, and the 4 dweller is going to just be placed on this open space. So he's not on the board right now. So the 4 dweller is not on the board because he's disappeared earlier. And then it says that when this clock runs out, so last round, actually we didn't mess anything up. Last round we just had to reduce it to 1. He will end up in the Tangle route at the beginning of next turn. So we've got the Hunted sort of accounted for. We've got good weather, but I think we're going to stay in the Fernsea because our quest that we're on, it says retrieve the true Grail from the Fernsea. So we're starting out in that area. Before we jump into the gameplay, quick shout out to this channel's sponsor, Pontus Fathom Press. You can go to our bookstore link down below and check out our Catu journals out of Lovecraft's Providence. Our 4th volume of the podcast series, Esoteric Dragon Mysteries, Decoding the Dragon Symbol in Myth and Occult Traditions. And you can also check out our Alchemy and Anthroposophy and the Dune Saga. These are books that help you guys to support the channel. We really appreciate your guys I want to say from the first half of this year. You guys have been doing a great job checking these out. Really appreciate everyone who's picked up books. And also appreciate you guys joining over on the Patreon for as little as $1. Most of our content is here on this channel. We have our podcast channel as well, but you can stay on top of things like our miniature painting series, Tabletop Miniature Makeovers, where we critique and repaint our miniatures. Song of Ice and Fire gameplay and miniature painting. Joan of Arc and Tainted Grail ongoing campaign, and getting into the miniature painting there as well. So thank you guys for your support. Let's jump into episode 2. So we are going to go back to Fernsea. We did have a dream last night of falling down a path, and if I reread the options here, it says, for 2 precious reasons, few wandered into the Fernsea over the years. Some enterprising merchants and travelers used it as a shortcut on the dangerous trek between Camelot and the Crow's Nest. And we kind of checked out this map here where Camelot is here, and we came up through the tombs. And then finally, we're in this Fernsea, and there's the tower. So we've actually crossed this Fernsea to this tower. So we're right here at that tower. There's a tower in the distance. It says that there's a falling into the nearest ravine, which we can go check out as well. If we fall into the ravine, it says slide down the nearest ravine, or slide down the opening. It requires part 1 of the Underfern status. So let's try to slide down the nearest ravine. we slide down the nearest ravine, or we have to slide down the okay, so let's see. Go to verse 5. Okay, so we're going to slide down the nearest ravine, so we're going to go do that. I guess we're just trying to collect the underfern statuses here. So let's go to, you stand at the entrance of a complex of underground corridors. A choking, musty smell indicates the air might not be suitable to breathe. Great. That's all we need. The complex caves known as the underfern is notoriously dangerous and difficult to navigate. If you don't have a good reason to be there, you should probably not be there. Okay, so if you haven't prepared an air dial yet, place a dial near your board and set it to 6. So we've got a dial here with 6. We're going to place this timer on it. We've got 6 here. It represents your limited supply of air. If you already have an air dial, it's reset to 6. So we either leave the caves, go to a wet tunnel, or crawl downward through the pit. Let's go into a wet tunnel. Sounds horrible, but let's try it. Reduce the air dial by 1. So the air dial goes to 5. If it reaches 0, each party member gains 3 terror and loses 1 energy. Go to verse 16. If the air dial is not 0, read on. Your footsteps echo through the limestone corridor. Head toward the dried plants. Go down the steep corridor full of slippery mud. Choose the tunnel paved with sharp, loose stones. Slippery mud, sharp, loose stones. I think we're going to go to the slippery mud because that was kind of like the dream. The dream had some slippery sliding down. So I'm just following that slippery stuff. So let's see. That's verse 3. Verse 3. Reduce the air dial by 1. So again, we reduce the air dial by 1 more time. Okay. If it reaches 0, it's not reached 0 yet. If you don't have part 2 of the underfern status, go to, okay, so we're going to go to our Book of Secrets of 3, 1, 317. Okay, so we're in the Book of Secrets. Really? 3, 1. No, 3, 2, 7. I could do it twice. I almost went the wrong way. It's very tricky when you do the Book of Secrets because you can get the wrong number. Okay, so you slide down the muddy corridor and finally end in a puddle of musty water. You curse, then catch a glimpse of gold beneath the water surface. You found a broken cask of coins. Each party gains 1 EXP and 5 wealth. Wow, that's great. You get 5 wealth. This is the richest we've been. Gain part 2 of the underfern status as well. That's awesome. So we gain our underfern status, part 2. So let's mark that. Underfern status, part 2. And then it says, go back to verse 14 in the Fernsea Exploration Journal, 153. Okay, reduce the air by 1. So we're down to 3. Your footsteps echo through the limestone corridors. So we've gone toward the slippery mud already. We've chosen the tunnel paved with sharp blue stones, or head toward the dried plants. Head toward the dry plants. Let's head toward the dry plants. Or the loose stones. Dry plants or loose stones. Let's Let's go to the dried plants. We'll go to the dried plants. I lost where I was. Verse 14, it says, go to the dried plants. That's verse 11. Did we go to verse 11 already? So we go to verse 11. It says, dry moss and withered fungi rustle loudly. Sharp twigs scratch your calves. Eat some mind-expanding mushroom. Requires maggot. Pay 1 energy. Each party loses 2 terror. Then make another choice. Okay, let's do that. We'll pay 1 energy. We reduce our terror down. So our terror is reduced. And then we can pick another choice. Delve into a curtain of lush green moss. Go where the moss thins out, replaced by a limestone bedrock. It's back to 14 again, which we already just did. So let's go delve into the lush green moss. Verse 23 says, you force your way through the garland of moss. We reduce our counter 1 more time. If you haven't prepared an air dial yet, place the dial near your character set to 6. I know we have placed the air dial already. You feel an unpleasant chill from one of the corridors. Go to verse 18. You feel it. So 18. Resolve. Okay. Each party gains 2 terror. We gain 2 terror. Now we're up to 2 terror. Go down the corridor filled with dried beetles. Jeez, what is going on? You're sure you feel fresh air from one of the passages. It says you can see a dim light above. We can choose 21. 21. Your knowledge about the world widens. The passage ends with several ugly statues made of something that looks and smells like feces. If you don't have part 4 of the Underfern status, each party gains 2 experience and gains part 4 of the Underfern status. So we've got part 4 of the Underfern status. Part 4. And we gain 2 experience. So I'm going to take these. I've got a ton of experience that I got to start to cash in. Maybe we'll get some new. So this is here. And these 2 here. Gain experience. Gain part 4 of the Underfern status. We gained that. And then go to verse 18. So now we're going to verse 18. This is such a maze. We reduce our dial 1 more time, and it says, go down to the verse tunnel. You force your way through the garlands. You have an unpleasant chill from the corridors and decide to investigate. You ignore the stench. Your sneeze becomes finely engraved in painted pillars. The art depicts ancient scenes of people killing dwellers and fighting off the weirdness. It reminds you of your mission. Each member of the party loses 2 terror. Go toward the smell of the grotto, or go toward the growling sounds. If you're playing chapter 5 or higher, go to verse 13. We're playing chapter 5. The cavern looks deep and older than Tuathan itself. Great reliefs are on the floor. Dweller rituals are visible in the daylight, sleeping through the holes. It's empty. of a feeling that this is not the last time you'll see this place. Go back to 24. Go up the hill towards the grotto. The small grotto brims with the corpses of animals and humans. The odor is barely endurable. You must leave this place as fast as possible. Go to... do we have dreams and prophecies? Dreams and Prophecies 3. We already have that. Go to... You rummage through the pile of carcasses. We can go to this. It says 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7. What a maze this is. This is amazing. 3, 6, 7. What did I do? 3, 6. Oh, we don't have that Shining Talisman card. Wait a minute. If you don't have this, go back to verse 17. Okay, sorry. 17. Reduce the air dial. Each part of... Okay, we've reduced our air to 0 now. So our air is reduced to 0. That means each party gains... where was I? Okay, it wasn't this one. It was... Go to verse 17. Sorry, 17. Each party gains 4 terror and loses 2 energy. So we lose 2 energy. Wow. Gain 4 terror because we're choking here. And it says 17. Go to verse 16. You slowly suffocate your head and chest swells, your panic ends, and you run blindly unsure of your direction. In the end, you crawl out of the complex and collapse in the lush green ferns, happy to be alive, taking in lungfuls of fresh air. Exploration ends. Okay, so we've done a massive exploration, really got nowhere. We did gain a couple of under fern statuses, so that's going to continue into the next day. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in round number 3. Take care. Bye-bye.